A couple of weeks ago I was contacted by a company called Brinyte. Now before I ever agree to do a review of a product that's sent to me, I like to check a company out just to make sure, you know, that they're not an obvious scam and they do actually believe in the products that they're producing. And I have to say, I had to look through Brinyte's website. It's extremely well presented. Some of the items they have on there do look really good quality, and their customer services rep, she was in touch constantly, and you know, I couldn't fault them. So after seeing that, I thought, you know what, I'll give this a go. I'll give it a test for them. And I'm not, just because they've sent it to me, I'm not going to say it's all sunshine and roses. I'm going to give you an honest breakdown of what I think about this torch, but I have to say it is mostly positive. Now the torch itself, this isn't one of your jack-of-all-trades torches that you will see online for around 50 to 150 quid, you know, kind of the mid-range. This one is primarily more focused on hunting and shooting. Now, one thing that may grab your attention straight away is how thin the grip is in comparison to other torches. I mean, even if you take this one here, you can see this one's quite a bit more substantially thicker, and that creates a lot of problems because most torches, I find, tend not to fit in these little universal rails. Now, this is just a 20mm torch rail, and every single torch I own does not fit in this, which annoyed me massively. Now, you can use these for pretty much every single torch which mount on top of a scope, but personally I prefer these because they're more adaptable. You can have them on side or under rails. You don't just have to whack it on top of a scope, which I find takes the mick of gun. It makes it very top heavy. Now that being said, with this being more primarily inclined for shooting and hunting, you're probably wondering, is it built tough? Because it's going to need to be. I can confirm this thing is built solid. I've dropped it from a height of 1 metre on different surfaces, and it hasn't come out with a scratch. You know, it's built well. I mean, to be fair, they're all made out of aircraft grade aluminium now anyway, and it's pretty bulletproof, the stuff. All the circuits inside seem fine, the wiring seems solid, so I wouldn't be worried about this breaking if you were to drop it. The feature that actually interests me the most about this torch though is the actual little remote. I've been sent torches in the past that are actually a similar price point to this, and they've never included a torch. I quite like this torch because you can just take the little lanyard wrap off and you can mount it onto the other side of your rifle or your crossbow or whatever, and it pairs up wirelessly, and you can control, you know, the power obviously, but it's the brightness. Normally on a torch you will do like a little series of clicks on the back to get to different levels of brightness, and it's never really precise. It's either 25, 50, 75% or the full whack. With this, I believe it's anywhere from 2% all the way up to 100%. So you have got such a fine level control with this little remote. Now that's something I really do like about this torch, is that level of control you do get. Now, as typical with these torches, it does come with different LED modules. You have got red, infrared A50, I will show you how that works later on, green, and interestingly UV. Now, I know UV is sometimes used for shooting some animals that are either sensitive to it or they can't see it too well. I just thought it was interesting they included that because I've never actually been sent a torch that does come with a UV attachment before, so, you know, it's just little perks and bonuses, I guess. So for the actual torch itself, it functions pretty much as you'd expect. It does have a zoom level, so you just want to twist the head, that'll zoom it out. The beam range, I believe, is about 600 metres. In fact, before I get on to tearing this down and showing you what's inside, I will put up just a little annotation. It'll show you all the specifications and the exact, you know, well, the specs of what it's putting out and what it's capable of. So I'll insert that now. Okay, so I'm assuming you had a little glance over the specs, and you can see it's pretty respectable for the price point. It will most certainly get the job done. Now, I want to actually show you the inside and just show you how this thing works. So, if you've ever obviously used a torch like this before, it has a zoom function, and it just works by rolling it out like that. The zoom's very effective, as you saw on the specs. I think the effective range is about 650 metres or something. So, you know, it's got a fair bit of pull on it, like, you know. To actually change the modules, that's pretty simple as well. You just want to unscrew this. Now I have a habit of over tightening these. As you see, that comes out nice and easy. Now you just pop that to a side. Now these things, you want to just screw that down, and then the whole module just lifts out. Pretty robust circuits internally. As I say, I've done drop tests on it, absolutely nothing wrong with it. It doesn't even look like it's been dropped. But believe you me, I've put it through some tests. Screw it back in, top back on. You have to forgive me for my light constantly going out. Let's get that back on. And as you can see, it works just fine. And now for the battery, just the rear cap. Now the good thing about the battery, it's not only is it rechargeable, but the charging point is on the battery itself. I wish more companies would do this. It saves so much hassle having about 15 different little chargers everywhere. Because a lot of the time these use their own proprietary unique batteries. And having so many different little chargers, it's a pain in the backside. Just whack the port straight on the battery, everyone's a winner. So I very much appreciate them doing that. And I should also mention that the actual charging point on the remote is just on the bottom here. It's USB, so again, no need to fart about with batteries. Charges in about an hour, I believe, and sorry, I'm just doing this off camera because I'm making it look a lot harder than it actually is. But yeah, charged up in about an hour, and they say it'll last for about 6 months, the little remote. So, you know, it's most impressive. I should say as well, the battery charging point is a USB-C. So, you know, they're getting with the times. So, I've rambled enough about the torch. I think it's about time I actually show you what it's like on different appliances, shall we call it. I'll show you on rifles, crossbows and the likes, and just give you a feel and an idea of how it looks. As you can see, it actually stances really well on the front of a rifle. Even though I've got this mounted quite far forward, it doesn't feel heavy. You know, it doesn't feel like the front of the muzzle is tipping down. The shoulder in it feels absolutely fine. It's a pretty damn good companion for shooting. And as I say, mounting it onto a rail isn't your only option. There was the included mount that'll let you attach it directly on top to a scope. I just like these because it gives you more options, and you can have the torch mounted on the other side, or, you know, it's entirely up to you. You could have it underslung. You can even attach the little remote so you can control the brightness with your fingers and get that exact level you need. So this is it on a rifle. Say, stances just fine, looks great, and I'll show you that on a crossbow. And on a crossbow you can see it's just as at home. Now crossbows are a lot smaller and a lot lighter, so there is a bit more heft up front, so you've got to keep that in mind. But I think the utility and the practicality of having a torch like this more than makes up for it. If you get a crossbow that's built well, like one of these, this is the Armex Tomcat 2, a bit of heft up front isn't going to harm it at all. With this one especially, I like it because I've got the foregrip. It means I don't necessarily need the remote, because I can just control everything by bringing my finger forward here and switching it on. But even on a small little crossbow, works absolutely fine, no issues whatsoever. Right, so now that you've actually seen me walk through the torch, give my opinions on it, show you what it's like on a rifle and a crossbow, I am now actually going to show you what it can actually do at night. Now, what you will be seeing is the normal, just standard light, the red one, the green one, the infrared and the UV. There will be quite a few cuts through this, obviously, as I'm changing the, you know, the modules out, but you will get a pretty damn good idea of what the thing's capable of. So, onto that. Okay, I'm not going to be talking all too much through this segment. I'm just showing you how the remote works. Plus, obviously, increases the brightness. The minus takes it back down, and the power button, I'm sure we all know what that does. Now, the LED modules in this torch are actually made by Cree. They're very well established, they've got many contracts across the planet. They're really good at what they do, so I have absolutely no doubt that the modules themselves are going to be reliable and they're going to get the job done. One other note I want to add further on is that you will see me testing the UV module. Now, I don't shine it into the trees because I'm mindful that I've got all the birds that live up there, you know, they're all having a kip, and birds, from what I've read, are a lot more sensitive to UV light than we are. So I didn't want to be shining it across all the birds whilst they're sleeping in the trees. I didn't think it was all too fair. But the actual module itself, it's great. you really can see things that you can't see with the naked eye when you shine on it. You see, if you was to go to a crime scene, you shine the UV torch on something, you'll see all blood stains and everything that you couldn't see with the naked eye. So it's quite a unique thing. Okay, just to clarify what's going on here, this is the A50 module being tested. Now obviously we can't see in that spectrum, so you're seeing this through my surveillance camera in the back. Now for me, outside it was completely pitch black, but you can obviously see the light on the footage. If you had some sort of headset or headwear that allowed you to see in the same way as the surveillance camera, you will get a very nice little light. So all in all, it's a great little package. You can pretty much use it for whatever your needs are in regards to shooting and hunting. And my impressions of this torch are pretty damn good.